Alright, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about Boiling Waterfall and Naraka Dragon, and how we can deal with this raid much more easily, even when pugging. Let's see, how should we start this? I feel like I should first cover the initial kind of issues that I run into when I am trying to pug the raid, right? Because running with a public team, often you'll run into people who kind of weren't prepared, or they don't hit the bonus, right? So the bonus for this, right, damage dealt increase, damage taken decrease, is, I believe it was 351,000. Okay, so I thought I used to think it was 350. It's 351. I found that out on easy peasy. And yeah, so do try to hit the bonus. If you don't hit bonus, there's a good chance you're going to get kicked. Okay. Number 2, bringing the right DPS. Okay. Now there's a lot of people that will want to bring like Argon, which is Wind Vampire. There's that Naren Ha character that's new out. They're both great raid characters. However, I don't like them too much for Dragon. And the reason is because for Dragon, I highly recommend you bring a unit that ignores beneficial effects. Once again, if you want to look up units that can do these kind of things, go to your book, go to Monster Book, search skill. Let's see, I think other effects. So we have remove beneficial effect. What we want is ignore beneficial effect. So let's see. Should be in here, I think. We got ignore death denial effect. I think I've glossed over it. Damage mitigation, ignoring damage. I mean, this one should be fine too. Damage mitigating, ignoring damage. That should be fine. Yeah, so here are all the units that we kind of looking for anyway, right? I actually didn't realize Water Martial Cat. Does she do it? Let's see here. Is this, no, that increases a crit rate up and crit damage up based on buffs. So Energy Punch ignores target's damage mitigation effect. That's cool, man. So she should also be fine. However, as you can see, the selection is quite limited. Now, you do get Karumbit in your guard journal. Okay? So this Fire Raven Assassin character, that's an LD5, so don't, put wishes on her. She's okay for it too, also good PvP unit. And then you get Cassie from your secret dungeons. Okay, so this dark, what's she called? Let me see. Oh, Cowgirl, duh. Dark Cowgirl, and then you got your Water Martial Cat. Now, I would recommend going for Karumbit or Cassie initially for this particular dungeon. When you want to take it to the next step and try and work Argon into these teams and stuff, what's going to happen is, because this is kind of the issue, right? This is issue number 2. When it comes to like bringing the right units, I see people bringing Theomars, I see people bringing Sekhmet, Argon, the Wind Vampire, who's like #1 for raids, yada yada. However, when the Dragon goes into his special little phase during part of the fight, and he starts taking 99% less damage taken, you have to do a certain amount of HP damage to the Dragon in order to get him out of that phase, make sure he doesn't berserk, okay? Cassie ignores the damage reduction. Karumbit ignores the damage reduction. It makes it much easier to get the Dragon out of that phase. Units like Sekhmet, Argon, Theomars, Fire Ifrit, forgotten his name, I'm blanking, all those kind of units that don't ignore beneficial effects, they have their damage reduced by 99% for a short time. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the debuffs that you put on the Dragon. However, I have seen the Dragon berserk even when I'm paired with people who are 400k plus power, because they're bringing these like really good raid units, and they're really good units for DPS and raiding. But when you hit that Dragon phase, it's just gone. And they're relying purely on, say, someone like me who brings Cassie or Karumbit. Now, both of these units also help for the Shrine phase with the Elementals, which we'll get to in a second. But essentially, bringing the right units, I highly recommend, I think, for an initial, like a new player's account, have a look at your Karumbit in the guard journal. getting Cassie from secret dungeons may take a little longer. Or should take, honestly, it should take longer. So go to Monster Story in your guard journal. Come down to, I think it's page 4. There you are. There's Fire Raven right there. You should be able to build him up enough early on. You'll be able to use him in Foggy. You'll be able to use him in White Shadow Castle. You'll be able to use him in Dragon. And you'll be able to use him in Marsh as well. So he, early on, when you've only got like one selected ticket and some 4 stars, 3 stars, he is going to easily step you into that next grade of dungeon, getting out of White Shadow Castle into Boiling Waterfall, okay? In my opinion, that would be the way to go. And again, he can still also be used for Twisted Marsh, okay? Now, obviously, as you build up your account over time, you'll be able to specialize your teams to improve them even more, make them even better, okay? So, you know, Karambit as a starter, as you can see, when you go into, when I go in here, I'm actually using Cassie now. Why? Because I reset my Karambit and I put his resources into my Kumar, who I now use for Boiling Water, who I now use for Marsh. And I'll get into that in the Marsh video, but for now I just want to focus on this particular one. And yeah, so just as far as units go, I would hope that people try and focus early on like keeping these units in the party for now, because if you want to speed run this dungeon, which will be possible soon enough with like the 6 star and stuff, I'm pretty sure you need to get him down to like 30% HP or something, and you can skip the shrine phase. But yeah, it's very quick, right? It's very quick. I'm not entirely sure how it works exactly because I haven't participated in it. But you know, for new players, that's not for you. And for old players, please do everyone a favor if you're pugging. Try not to rely on other people to keep the dragon out of Berserk. And yeah, and the next part, obviously, is dealing with the elementals. Okay, so once he gets to, let's see if I bring this up. Yeah, so when he gets to a certain amount of HP, he's gonna fly up into the sky, and the shrine phase is gonna start. Okay, so once you get past the initial damage reduction phase, he'll put a bunch of flames out. We're gonna do a run, and I'll talk things through. I just want to go over things first before we go in, right? The elementals are gonna pop out, and it's your, like, each player wants to take 1 shrine each and try and protect the shrine. I think if all 3 shrines die, he gets his ultimate gauge. And when he gets his ultimate gauge, he'll just nuke everybody. There it is there. Removes all beneficial effects. Instant death. Works 100% of the time. He just wipes the raid, okay? So it's very important to kill these elementals. Make sure they don't touch your shrines. Also, once the shrine phase is over, you have to hide in a little invincibility bubble in the shrine in order to, once again, not get wiped, okay? You have to make sure you hide under that little bubble. And we're going to show you guys, or I'm going to show you guys when I get in there. And yeah, because he'll basically use a skill like this during that phase, but you'll be able to invincibility it using the shrine buff, okay? Because you protected the shrine, you can now survive his one-shot nuke of the whole party, and then you can get back out there, DPS him. I don't think there's a second shrine phase. At least I've never seen one. But at any rate, important things is to try and keep him out of Berserk by bringing the correct unit, and then dealing with these elementals. Now, the elementals, when they spawn with a shield. Okay? So, let's see. Shield based on 1,500% of caster's max HP. So they have quite a strong shield. You can remove the shield by applying crowd control to them. Now, as a cleave, I can use my wind weapon, skill 1, bump them up in the air, removes the shield. Using Cassie ignores the shield. Using Karambit ignores the shield. Once again, ignore beneficial effect, ignores the shield. Helps a lot with killing the units, right? Now, personally, I prefer using Cassie to an extent. Karambit does more damage. Cassie, however, Karambit can he jumps around a bit, so he can jump himself into these flames on the ground, which you'll see in the fight, which gets him, sometimes it gets him into trouble. Cassie will just shoot back, she'll stand back with your support, shoot from range. Doesn't do as much damage, but is reliable, right? The other units, of course, are a lot harder to get. I'm not sure about Water Martial Cat's performance. And then, of course, units like, Theomars, Argon, etc. Once again, like all those other DPS units that don't ignore beneficial effect, they're okay to use during the phase, but you have to deal with the shield. A really good way of dealing with the shield is to bring a taunt unit. A lot of people do that. But once again, like I use Cleef, his skill 1, bumps him up into the air, removes the shield, makes life a lot easier. And of course, as a Cleef, I can also provoke myself, right? And then there's Cassie, who ignores effects. Now, removing the crowd control using a taunt, the elementals won't focus the unit that's taunted them, so you do still have to kill them. Hopefully your taunt works. A lot of taunts are like 3 mana, right? The provokes are like 3 mana cast, so any tank, good to use, but don't enter the dungeon with the tank. You swap in the middle of the fight, okay? So, essentially what happens, dragon flies up in the air, you click on your little book, swap in your tank unit. Kuma's not a tank, but you get the idea. We're just showing on the fly, swap in your unit, okay? So, that's how we deal with that. Now, what else is there to deal with? The flames, okay? So, let's jump back into here. Okay, so, it's how you deal with the elementals. Let's see, we've talked about dealing with the damage reduction, we've talked about dealing with the elementals, bringing the right units, and the third issue is dealing with the flames. Now, shields are really good for dealing with those, okay? So, Naraka will put out an uncleansable debuff, okay? And it's this little blue, purple flame thing that's on you. Flame circles on the ground, don't stand in them because it'll stack the debuff on you. The only way to remove this debuff is to heal yourself to max HP. So, units like Bastet here, or any other unit that has a shield, so there's a Water Epicon Priest, which is Riona, even Chloe's Invincibility, as long as you're not taking too much damage before your heals can go off and put you back to max HP to get rid of the flame off of your party, works fine. So as you can see in my party, I'm running Bastet with a Navel. Now my Navel actually won't be healing it perfectly on her own, but she's got like a debuff attack skill and a heal. Some units like Shushu have 2 heals. Shushu is the Light Howl. Lulu, the Water Howl, also has a double heal kit. Really, like one of the best units for Dragon would be Wusa, the Water Pioneer, right? So once again, these units I'm talking about, go to your book, have a look. So I'm going to show you guys continuous heal, really strong. So Wusa here, this guy here, absolute monster in this dungeon. Immunity doesn't really do much, but when you've got that shield and you've got this continuous recovery going, plus he heals as well, I think. Let's see. Does he heal on the actual skill? Yeah. It applies continuous recovery to nearby allies, applies additional 1 if target is shield. I guess not. I guess it's just the shield and the continuous recovery. Either way, he shields and then puts continuous recovery on, which keeps you topped up, right? Especially when combined with other people's units that also heal, okay? So things like that in order to keep yourself alive for when you get flamed, because you will get flamed. One of the phases literally will stack flames on you. When he goes in that damage taken down phase, he's spamming out his fire wave on you and you'll get flame stacks. So you have to make sure you keep your HP topped up at all times as best you can. And shields are great for that, combined with heals, okay? So, let's see. I think I've kind of covered the more, not really frustrating things, but the things to kind of watch out for when you are trying to raid this particular dungeon, okay? Now, let's see if we can recruit a couple people. We're going to jump right in and give you guys an example. I'm actually not going to stay water weapon. Now, I think I've mentioned it already, but if you want to skip the shrine phase, so here we have a healer with an Orbia DPS, and we have 2 units that don't ignore beneficial effects. Their DPS should drop significantly during the phase. Hopefully we have enough DPS with Cassie and whoever else comes in, okay? And yeah, I'll swap I'll swap it to like a DPS meter when it happens, and yeah, we'll see how long this takes. If the recruiting takes too long, I'll trim the video. Okay, and I'll see you guys in a couple seconds. So we'll just wait here and see how it goes. Alright guys, we got our second, and we're going to head on in. Now you can see that our newfound ad has Karumbit and Helia. Something I wanted to talk about is that if you feel like your DPS is a little low, you're running a shield character like I am, sometimes what I like to do is, like I was mentioning before about swapping out your characters on the fly in order to, so let's just buff these guys up. I'm going to swap to DPS so we can watch the DPS and just how high it is, okay? And look out for these flames at the start, guys. Oh no! I was supposed to dodge over to the left there. Keep out of those big flames on the ground, alright? Now, keep an eye on the DPS bar for when we get into the next phase. You can see Elon Musk is doing massive amounts of damage right now because he's running Argon and Wind Martial Cat. You should see his DPS drop off during the next phase, alright? When he's putting out his flames. Now, if you feel like I was trying to say, here it goes. So here's the phase. This is where these little flame debuffs will stack on you during these dragon roars. You see Karumbit over there basically standing in the flames, and you saw Muska's damage drop very quickly. Now you can see we've got Karumbit and Cassie doing work to get him out of that phase very quickly. Okay? Now if you feel like that particular dragon roar phase and people aren't doing enough damage, right here, during this particular phase here, you can bring up your units. Uh-oh, I just realized we are actually still on fire. We cap our units, there we go. So notice how I jumped in to grab the invincibility. Uh-oh, we're still on fire. What is this? 1 second guys, this never normally happens. Look out. Let's let me use my taunt to get rid of these guys quickly. Trying to keep that shield up. I may need to use my ultimate. Can you get us a heal here? Okay, we got rid of... No, we didn't. Why can't we get rid of these flames? But anyways, as you can see, my skill 1 is doing work right now. Okay? In order to keep these guys down. Let me just use that taunt. Get rid of this last guy. Jump in here quickly. Looks like everyone's got their shrines handled. And what I was trying to say is that if you guys think that you are not doing enough damage during this particular phase, do not swap your units right here while he's doing this skill. Don't do it, because this invincibility buff won't be applied. Okay? Swap it immediately after. So right here I can swap to my Helia, who's going to help increase the damage by a ton. Okay? I'm going to wait for my team to come over here. We've got everyone buffed up. And now I'm going to use my Bastet ult in order to give everyone a good attack buff. Oh, he jumped straight into it. Very nice. Now, let's see. We've got DPS on here. Now, see how Elon's damage dropped really for a moment there? Because we have a couple people who ignore the beneficial effects, we don't have to worry too much. It's fine to have at least one person doing it, and you can see his damage just spikes really well. Good to have the units if you plan to do a speedrun. I got a couple of really good players to jump in here and help out with the video. We are just pugging those, so they don't know. But you can see like I'm hitting 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? And I think you see that 1700. I believe that might be our debuffs. See how high he's gone, and Elon dropped really low during this particular dragon roar. What I wanted to say was it's normally the third dragon roar where you will see that damage drop off, because you need to do like 7 or 8% of its HP in order to get him out of the dragon roar, in order to make sure he doesn't berserk, and then he'll just start spamming flames on everyone, right? I have cleared the dragon a few times while he is berserked, so it is possible. It's not a wipe exactly, but you do need to be very careful, because if he has berserked, then at that point, there's a good chance that he's also going to ultimate on you, which will wipe your party. I have seen excuse me, I have seen it a lot of the time, he will just kind of wipe you. Because you've either lost too many shrines or someone's unit, then a couple units die. Revive is terrible in this one because if the units are dying, his ultimate is also going up. So if you're reviving your units that then die again straight away or something like that, not too good, right? Now, we all saw how much Elon did there, right? Really good for people that want to do speed teams, because I think, once again, I'm going to say it one more time, I think you have to get him to around 30% HP before that first, for the first shrine phase or something, and at that point he'll just skip it. I'm not sure if he skips the berserk, like tries to go the damage reduction, tries to go berserk phase when he does that, but yeah, just something to take note of, right? Anyways, I think I kind of covered the most important aspects for it. Swapping your units in and out on the fly is a completely viable strategy, and you should try and do it. Make sure you hit your party bonus, okay? And yeah, I'm gonna watch the video back. I'll add anything, and I'll add to it at the end of it if I feel like I've missed something. Anyways, it's we've hit 24 minutes, so I'm just gonna cut it there. And yeah, good luck on your runs, guys. Like I said, use the monster book. Try to take into account that other people may not have beneficial effect ignoring units for those particular berserk phases, or when he's trying to go berserk phases, when you have to do that high amount of damage in order to make him not go berserk, because that has wiped more raids than I've cleared. Okay, so I have seen more raids wiped because of failing that phase than I have cleared that phase, like then I've cleared the dragon after he's gone berserk. Just so you guys are aware. So be careful, like try to be aware of that. But yeah, me personally, I have a well-rounded team. You saw Elon had a pure DPS team, and the other guy came in. I think it's a Kina. So they had their heals, and they had their support as well as their Karambit as well. So very well-rounded team for them. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.